here's where I want to end off. No, I'm broke, dude. I ain't got no fucking Denny's on the game, dog. I have to like expend resources to get them Denny's. Here's where I would leave off with Seed. I think Seed, like I talked about earlier during the tier list, Seed is like a really strong balanced character as far as like the attack type characters go. I'm still learning how to play her effectively so that I can use her in any given team. But right now, once I start leveling her up, I think if you care about attack, you pull Seed. And like this is me stretching it. This is stretching it. Like she's not mandatory, but I think you either get Seed or you get Orphie.
Are you tired of losing? Are you tired of losing those 50-50s to bullshit? Don't worry, big dog, I got just the deal. Introducing Lootbar, a popular top-up website that offers you purchases up to 23% cheaper. Nani? Now you can score that cool Jafufu without missing a beat. Using Lootbar is actually pretty easy too. All we have to do is pick the pack we want, type in our game UID, make the purchase, and voila. But wait, there's more. Not only does Lootbar use the same in-game routing as Zenless, but they're even working around 7 days a week to provide their own trustworthy service. And because I'm me, just for you guys, I got Lootbar to double down. New users get a 10% off coupon right now. And I also have an exclusive link down below in the description that you can use to get a discount on top of that. Now get out there and go pull that new character.
So if we look at attack type teams, right? We have Zhuyuan, Qingyi, and Nicole. Some people don't run Qingyi, they run Astra. He's fine. Zhuyuan's fine where she is, but you could improve it depending on like the Seed, right? If Seed works better or worse, you could potentially improve that. Astra, Evelyn, Lighter. This team is literally like creme de la creme perfect. Very, very few things you can do to improve this team, right? I guess you replace Lighter with Seed. You could do that if you want to. Sanbi. Now Sanbi is still in the same position she was in before. Sanbi does not have a true team that gives her everything she wants. Seed is close, but Seed is also, you could just use Astra, right? In that particular case. Now, the gameplay, I will say this, the gameplay of using Sanbi and Seed, you put these two teams like neck and neck, the way Seed, anything in the middle, you could put Nicole or Trigger in the middle, it doesn't matter. They play slightly differently, but the feeling is the same. These three physically feels better to play. I want to like really stress that. That's not me saying it's better than, it physically feels like it functions the way you want to play it. On the flip side, if you don't care to do anything dual DPS, that's where you go into the hyper carrier, the standard team builds, right? Sanbi, Trigger, Nicole, Sanbi, Trigger, Astra, Sanbi, Astra, Nicole. Like you really don't care for doing anything else. You just want to play Sanbi, then that's what you do. You cannot do that with Seed. Seed really wants another attacker. You could probably force hyper carry, but now you're getting rid of like the majority of her kit, right? She has no Vanguard, which means not only does she not benefit somebody else on the team, but she also doesn't receive that benefit as well. If you replace Sanbi with Evelyn, right? Any of the other attackers, I'm not going to go through all of them for the sake of like me explaining this to wrap it up. But if you replace her with Evelyn or Harumasa, it's the same concept. Just, you know, obviously you're changing things based off the actual attack type character that you're using. These two work together because Evelyn wants to be able to do her chain attacks, which she's very easily able to do, but you need to make sure she has her meter, right? That's a different thing. Having your resources locked and loaded for that stun window is very important. But now you get into, okay, well, now you're playing this team, you don't get to the stun window as fast as you could because you don't have a stunner. So now you need a Jafufu or you need a Trigger. Now, I'm not going to tell you which one yet because I have not gone to test this Evelyn team yet. That's on schedule for later on in the week. But you need one or the other. Why? Because you need that passive ability to stun. So like, let's say that you were rocking Jafufu, Evelyn, and then, you know, Seed. Seed is going to be benefiting Evelyn. Evelyn is going to be benefiting Seed. Jafufu is going to benefit the both of them by giving them the stun. She's giving them the crit damage bonus, and she's giving everyone extra decibels, right? That plus 1000 decibels. She's also giving both of them, when they use their ultimate, she's giving them that 300 plus refund or plus 300 refund. So this helps you out in that way. So me personally, I feel like a stunner with Evelyn, yeah, exactly, Alexandra, it performs better. That's how I feel. Other people might disagree because I know a lot of players just like hyper carry. To a lot of players, running double support plus 1 DPS feels better to them, so they think it's better performance. When in reality, it's probably not better performance. You probably just don't understand or know how to play the other team. That's not to everybody. It just, you know, each in their own. I round off this to say this character, Seed, is good right now. I know people are like losing their minds about the tier 1 shit for Pride Win, leave her alone. Let this character stay tier 1, and as time goes on, you're gonna see her improve. If you are familiar with, I don't know Genshin to relate to this, so I can't really relate it to a Genshin, but I do know Star Rail. If you guys are familiar with a character called Topaz, also has a fat ass. Topaz was another character that was a part of the hunt. She's for the hunt, and she played not only because she played to benefit herself, but she also played to benefit the other follow-up attack unit on the team. At the time of Topaz's release, though, we did not have Fei Xiao. Everyone talks about Fei Xiao as like the premier follow-up attack unit. We didn't even have Dr. Ratio yet. We got Dr. Ratio after Topaz. Topaz came out a couple patches later. We got Dr. Ratio, and then follow-up attacking teams. That particular team, the IPC emergency team is what I call it, was top 3. It just rammed out damage. And if you happen to have Topaz's light cone, it made it even better. If you had an M1 or a E1 Topaz, it made it significantly better. Like, vertical investment was really what helped follow-up attack comps shine in Star Rail. The more you invested, the stronger it became. Obviously, investment is per account. I think the same thing is going to apply for Seed or for attack type characters in general. Why? The big why is because, let's go back real quick, comparing attack type EAMs or attack comps to anything anomaly. We have Yuzu Ice at the top, and then we have just like raw Alice, right? Alice, Yuzu, and Yanagi at the top. Comparing attack type teams to either of these, you're gonna lose. Even comparing Yi Xuan to Anomaly, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna lose. Anomaly cheats the system. Their whole thing is literally cheating the game. You need an attack type team that's also going to help you cheat the game. That's how you would compete with that. But because Anomaly in itself, in its core, the mechanic itself can be abused, attacks can't do that. Attackers can't do that. There's no way for them to abuse that. The closest thing we got to attackers being able to abuse a mechanic at the time would be Evelyn. And that's one of the reasons why Evelyn is so close, right? One of the reasons why when we look at a tier list and we say like, oh, Evelyn with the expert tag can jump up to tier 0. I don't fully agree with that statement, but you guys get what I'm saying, the general populace, because Evelyn is one of the closest characters to cheating the system. Another character that's really close to doing that, I don't have the team right here, but it's Hugo. Hugo is another character that's really close to cheating the system because he's able to essentially trade the stun timer for a ton of damage. But that's also his drawback. What if you can't stun? What if this enemy can't be stunned? What if it takes you too long to stun? And Hugo's value starts to drop down. So this is a player skill thing at the end of the day when it comes to Hugo. So if we're wrapping this up and going back to Stanby here with this particular team, and we talk about Seed, M0 W1 with her engine is definitely the way to go. If you're gonna pick up Seed, you want to pick up her engine. There might be some other engines that you could use. Gilded Blossom could be something that you could potentially, and I'm literally just naming shit. I'm not saying this is like the best thing in the world for her because I didn't even bother looking for other engines. I knew I was gonna get this engine, so I did not even bother looking for other options. This is obviously the engine that she's gonna want. If you're going to invest and you want this to be as strong as possible for the long game, start looking at her mindscapes. M1, when Seed Steel Charge reaches 100, she can trigger her crash down. Basically, they cut it in half. So instead of needing to do 200, you can do 1 crash down per meter, right? So like half a meter, crash down, another half a meter, crash down. As soon as she enters the field, crash down. This helps her pump out a lot of damage and really alternate between I want to be on the field, I want to be off the field. And while she's off the field, right, because of the way quick swap works, she's midair coming down. Like she is wham, Megazord punch into the ground, right? Like that's what she's doing. You also have the amount of meter required for the steel charge, right? The steel charge meter required, there we go, in order to release Slaughter, Falling Petals, whatever, is also reduced by 100. Basically reducing the amount of energy or resources it takes to get her to this point. She also has the ultimate change, and she increases the damage of her crash down, the crit damage specifically, by another 30%. This would help her tremendously as far as like her own personal damage goes. So grabbing an M1 Seed, not a bad play at all. Now we look at the opposite, right? Which I said earlier, I said, if you care about making your attack type characters, your attack comps as strong as possible to try and keep up or compete with the busted mechanics of Anomaly, you need to pick up Seed or you need to pick up Orphie. You don't need both, you need one or the other. Now, if you want to play Seed with Orphie, that's a whole different conversation. But if we're talking about like attack comps in general, this is what you're thinking about. The same things that I'm saying about Seed, her mindscapes, would be the same things that I would say about Orphie. M0W1 Orphie is definitely what you're looking for, or M1W0 Orphie is what you're looking for, depending on what her mindscape is, right? But the point being is that these two characters in particular are going to be the future of like what's helping attack type characters get up to the next level. It doesn't mean that I'm saying they're gonna jump into like tier 0 or they're gonna start competing with Miyabi and Yuzu Ice. What I'm saying is that it's going to help them get there. Without this, right? Let's just say you're normally playing attack type characters. You know, you got your Nekomata, you got your Anton, your Korin, your Zhuyuin, Thanby, Ellen, Hugo, whatever, and you already don't have their premier team, you're gonna struggle. You won't struggle to clear content. You're gonna struggle when it comes to what you see other people doing and what you can't do. Man, this other person got a 40K clear. My friend got a 40, 50K clear. They picked up Alice, M0W1 Alice, and they're clearing with 55K in Deadly Assault. Meanwhile, I can barely clear 25K. I can barely clear 30K. Why? Did you invest into your attack type teams? Oh, well, no. I mean, I'm using Hugo and I have Lighter, but I didn't get Lycan or I didn't get Jafufu. I'm using Anby instead. Okay, well, you can pick up a Seed or an Orphie. Don't do the Hugo Orphie thing. I'm literally just naming shit, right? Or with Ellen. Same thing with Evelyn, right? And again, if you have their premier teams, you're good to go. But if not, which some of these characters just straight up don't have a premier team. They have units or premier units that help them. A good example of this would be, we come back over here to the tier list, right? And we can just look at it for a little bit. We scroll all the way down and we see Anton, partner, Astra Yao. Astra is helping Anton improve, go from tier 4 to tier 3. Nekomata has been in tier 4 for the longest time. Seed released, and it immediately brought Nekomata's potential up, right? Her damage performance as a whole has increased because of Seed, not because of Astra, not because of Nicole, not because of Jafufu or Trigger. It was Seed. The one character that brought up Nekomata was Seed, and that's a really good thing, right? So now we're gonna get Orphie, and Orphie, I expect Orphie to do the same thing for a few different characters. I don't know where they would bump them up to, maybe tier 0.5. I don't really think they probably deserve tier 0.5, but it is what it is. Like, it's not really a big stress or anything like that. But to go on to what I was explaining about premier teams, right? And attack type characters. Hugo has a premier team. Evelyn has a premier team. Any fire ice attack type unit has a premier team. We don't have a lot, but they have a premier team, right? Lighter and Astra. If you don't use Astra, you can use anything else. You can use double stun. Double stun is really good with these particular characters as well, because they're able to abuse the resource gathering they have. Ishwin already has a premier team, and then she's getting more premier units, right? The very next archetype coming out after this will be Rupture. Rupture is coming out right after this. So as soon as Orphie's gone, we're going to start getting hammered with Rupture units for a whole patch. Ishwin's going to get a big buff in terms of like the team support that she has. Panda, I guess. So he's going to be out of here. Ellen has a premier team already, and Ellen is a type of character, another, with her revamp, another very strong attack type character. Now that she's had that revamp, her premier team can fluctuate depending on what you're looking for. She can use Lycan, she can use Lighter, she can use Sokaku, Nicole, she can even use Rena still. And if your Rena has Mindscapes, that works even better for a character like Ellen. If your Ellen has Mindscapes, Rena works better for her. There's a lot you have going for you. And again, vertical investment is the key thing that we're talking about here to keep your units up. I don't say this because I want people to go around blowing bread on fucking Zenless Zone Zero. I say this because a lot of players seem to not understand the concept of vertical investment versus horizontal investment. You don't have to pull for everything under the sun. If you care about like Zhuyuin, Zhu's my favorite character. If you care about making your Zhuyuin as strong as possible, you're one of the players that like, I really like Bernice. I really like Zhuyuin. I really like Vivian. And I won't even name the anomaly characters like that. I really like Zhuyuin. I really like Sambi. I really like Seed. I want to keep, or Haramasa. I want to keep playing these characters, but it feels like that they won't keep up with the game. Pull their freaking Mindscapes. Pull their W engine. Vertically invest into the supports that can help them. This is how you keep the longevity of what you got going on for whatever your account is. It's the key thing there. So if I want my Haramasa to be stronger, I have two options: invest into my Haramasa, invest into whatever the supportive characters on the team are to make him stronger. Usually investing into the supports are a little better because then you can use them like account wide across anybody. But we just talked about it with Seed, we talked about it with Haramasa, and even Ellen. Sometimes it's better for you to grab these attack type DPS characters or attack characters and get their Mindscapes because it improves them significantly. Exactly, Fluffy just said it. Jane's M2 from M0 is a 64% DPS increase. This is like the power of vertical investment. But when you're constantly looking for, hey guys, Astra's coming around, should I pull Astra? Okay, well, who do you have? I already have all the other supports. I already have Yuzu. I already have a fully decked out Nicole. I play Yuzu Ice. I already have Sokaku and Yuzu, right? I have a decked out Nicole. I have Trigger. I have Jafufu with her engine. And I have Shingi. And I have Caesar. And I have an M6 Rena because I just got really unlucky. The fuck are you pulling Astra for? Oh, because everyone says Astra's like the best support. You could just invest into whatever attack characters or anomaly teams you have right now and just make them stronger. You could do that. And then you could say, in turn of you doing that, you can save for the new shit coming out. Minato, Lucia, Yidhari, I think is how you pronounce her name. Yidhari, Ishwin, whatever, any of the new characters coming out, right? But that's enough of that. That's enough yapping, guys. I'm done with that. I just wanted to end that off so that you guys understood that. You guys kind of have a way better idea about Seed as a character. Seed being where she is right now is perfect the way it is. I'm still learning. I'm still investing into this character. So for the remainder of the week, you guys happen to come on streams after seeing this video, I will be trying my best, just constantly improve Seed and the different teams that I can use with her, because I do want to see that potential. I want to see where it goes. And ultimately, I also need to determine if I'm going to invest into an M1 Seed or like an M1 Orphie, probably M3 Orphie, to be honest, because like whoever has a cooler banner or whoever I'm going to use the most, I'm not going to lie to you. It is what it is. Esper, you said it's still easier and cheaper to pull strong new units than investing in a premium teams. Not really. I mean, you're pulling the same thing, right? Like, and it's probably cheaper if we're being completely honest. If you already have, again, let's take the attack team, right? Let's just say that you're going to play Seed and Zhu Yuan. You already have Zhu Yuan, and you just pulled Seed. It's cheaper for you to build into that than it would be for you to go build an entire different team. Build like horizontally investing into a whole different team because you're replacing your Seed and Zhu Yuan team. It's cheaper for you to just build in the Zhu Yuan and build in the Seed. Both of these characters already still, like, they're still strong to this day. Zhu Yuan just wants a little bit more, and this little bit more is like damage or the speed at which you can pump out her ether shells during a stun window. Seed wants her W engine. We talked about why her M1 would be good for her. And then with Zhu Yuan, right now you can flip it. Let's say that you didn't get Seed and now you want an Orphie. Well, you pick up an M1 Zhu Yuan, I think it's M1, right? With she auto refills her bullets. And now you have a stronger on-field Zhu Yuan. You add defense shred so that you can kind of get rid of the whole stun meter thing, or you give her a trigger or a Qingyi, whatever you want to do. And now she's just doing work. You could literally do that, but that would be cheaper. You know what I mean? The thing with pulling new hotness is also that it isn't always super strong immediately. It might need 2 or 3 banners to flesh it out. Yep, that's a thing too. For me, gameplay matters a lot, so I ain't gonna say for every character, I ain't gonna go for every character, even if they're good. New units haven't been hitting for me as much. See, and look, if they're not hitting for you, that's what I was talking about earlier, right? My favorite Zhu Yuan. If I really want to play Zhu Yuan, I'm gonna do everything possible to make sure that my Zhu Yuan is still strong. M3 Sambi, here I come. Hey man, if you want to do it, I believe in you, you know? I mean, like, I pulled Ishwin, it's literally in my life so much easier than it was even without any of her supports at the time. I think that's a little different, right? Doing something like that is just kind of like, like I said, you're replacing it, or you just don't have anything up to snuff to be able to handle it in a way. But I don't know. I digress.